Hey guys, welcome back to my weekly videos. I read this book last month, so let's see if it's going to focus on it. To Hell with the Hustle. This book, I'm not going to do a book review on it, but that there's this, one main point that I just wanted to talk about just to bring some awareness to. Basically in this book, he's just talking about how anxious our generation is and how we're just so focused on achieving our goals and hustling. And of course, there's nothing wrong with having goals and with being motivated and driven and hustling, but it definitely can be very detrimental if it's to an extreme. And I just think our generation is definitely suffering with that. Okay, so I'm just going to read a quote from the book. And it says, "Because in truth, I'm over it. I'm over us being statistically the most anxious and depressed generation in history. I'm over friends by the dozen struggling to find any sense of purpose or meaning. I'm over people destroying their lives, their relationships, their marriages, and putting it on the altar, working themselves to death. And I'm over simply living in a society where franticness and a tornado of the soul are the norms." So this book as a whole is really good, but I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but I just wanted to just say, keep that in mind, that that's kind of like the setting of this book. But what I really like is that this part actually, the whole book, in my opinion, does provide a solution, but this part specifically provides a solution, or at least just like a new perspective that I think is really helpful. Okay, so sorry that this is a lot of reading off of here. I like to be present and speaking, but I have to just read this one last part. And so he's saying, I've begun to understand that we are created for formation and not goal setting. In general, goals are usually about a finish line, something you can reach for and then be done once you accomplish it. It's about doing something. Whereas formations, on the other hand, aren't about doing something, but about being someone. One is usually about activity, while the other is about identity. Goals are linear and look like a straight line, whereas formations look like a circle where you're constantly coming back to it to be refreshed and renewed in that particular practice. So one is about a result, so the goal is about a result, and the other is about a process. So basically what he goes in to talk about is, instead of focusing on a goal, so here's an example that he uses. Let's just say if you really get into running and then you set a goal and you say, I want to run a 10K by next year at this time. So that is about setting one goal, and that's linear. And so you're placing so much in being able to accomplish this one goal. And let's just say if you're not able to accomplish that goal, then it might change the value that you place on yourself, and it puts a lot of pressure on you as well, versus, like he says in the book, being a person who runs. If you're a person who runs because you enjoy running and you have the discipline to wake up every morning and run like 5K, then that's part of your identity and that's who you are, and you can just continue to be that person, as opposed to, I need to focus on one goal and I need to run that 10K. And the way that I look at it is, it's just very similar to dieting as well, which is why I'm not a fan of dieting, because instead of focusing, let's just say, so if you're doing a diet, that's a goal. Whereas if you've changed the lifestyle of the way that you eat, then that's your identity, and that's a process. And actually that reminds me of this blogger mom that I follow on Instagram, and she made a post like that saying how when she had her first son, she just like went really hardcore into trying to get rid of like her mom bod, like trying to get her body back, and she put so much pressure on herself. Whereas now by her third child, she's embracing the process of just being good to her body and doing things that feel good, and eating foods that make her feel good, and doing exercise that makes her feel good. And she's actually seeing results faster, and then it's also a more enjoyable process for her, and it's part of her identity. She is a healthy, from an outside perspective, she is a healthy person who enjoys doing these things. But again, it's not like I need to lose my baby weight by this date. So if you can think of an area in your life where you feel like this applies, again, I just wanted to say, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have goals. I'm definitely not saying don't have goals, but what I'm trying to say is to maybe think about this new perspective in, number one, first recognizing how anxious our generation is when it comes to chasing this success. And genuinely, if you're enjoying the process and if it's making you feel really anxious, then is there another way? Are you able to look at it this way, where you were like, you know what, I'm putting so much pressure on myself to, like for an example with me, because I'm doing some speaking gigs, but if my only goal was I need to be on a platform in front of 100,000 people. Do I want to be on a platform in front of 100,000 people? Yes, I do. But if I were to only focus from now to just aim at that one goal to get there, I personally wouldn't really be enjoying the process, because I would be killing myself with the amount of pressure that I'd be putting on myself, as opposed to saying, I'm someone who enjoys inspiring people. I'm someone who enjoys speaking to people. So then that way, when I'm putting out these videos right now, I actually enjoy putting these videos out, and I enjoy doing my coaching sessions, and I enjoy when I get asked to speak at little gigs here and there in the meantime, because I am a person who enjoys speaking and enjoys helping people. And that is the process. And what he also says in the book is when you look at it more that way, you actually end up not only being happier along the way of this process, but you end up achieving your goals either faster or bigger, because you weren't running this rat race the entire time. And I know that there are some people that may disagree with me that are super into goal setting and all of that kind of motivational stuff. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I'm just saying that if it's making us anxious and unhappy, you know, they could definitely be right when it comes to goals with achieving them in a certain time frame, for sure, and I don't doubt that. But I think it's more important for our mental health and our sanity, and just to enjoy our lives in general. We want to be enjoying our lives as we're becoming who we're becoming, as this process is evolving, as opposed to, again, thinking like, once I get on a stage in front of 100,000 people, then I'll be happy. Then I'll know that I made it. And believe me, I did used to think like that before. But instead, just changing my perspective, like, no, I am someone that enjoys inspiring people and speaking to people. And so I am that person. And I enjoy being this person. And I'm on my way to bigger goals, and I'm on my way to bigger stages. But in the meantime, I don't condemn myself and I don't hate myself because I'm not there yet. Yes, it's good to be motivated. Yes, it's good to have goals. But no, it's not good to make ourselves sick and to jeopardize our relationships and our friendships and our family and our mental health and our physical health, because we're neglecting our bodies, because we're just running this race so hardcore. So thanks guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos. And if there's someone that you think would appreciate this video, then definitely send it their way, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.